absolute redundant meetings happening in Switzerland. They could have happened in Mumbai as well.
When there were more people wearing green and blue badges and never attended a single plenary, but they would be out every evening for the parties. I'm against the way we are using Davos to advance the cause of investing in India. Abhishek Lodha signs an MOU with Devendra Fadnavis. When Abhishek Lodha's father is in Fadnavis's cabinet, you're signing an MOU for businesses in Bombay. I mean, what's the logic?
Nobody is against Davos. Nobody is against India going and being represented at an international forum.
Now, why is it that we went all the way to Davos and both the CM and us went to Davos to get this signing done? Because it's a signaling to the rest of the foreign investors that, look, this is a serious matter. A large number of the people visiting are simply onlookers. They don't have a role to play. They are basically doing tourism.
Then this is the taxpayers' money, Dr. Bhattacharya.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there is an audit required?
A lot of these people want to go there. Oh, we hope not. This bloody selfie culture has also destroyed and permeated business. We can do it better, we can do it sharper, and we can do it cheaper.
Hello and welcome. You're watching The Federal with me, Sanket Upadhyay. This is AI with Sanket. No, this is not the AI as you know it. This is the AI of news. Because news in India today requires not artificial, but analytical intelligence. On the show this evening, we're going to talk about Davos. Yes, lovely pictures of snow-capped mountains, skiing, paragliding, business leaders from across the world, media delegation from across the world, people interviewing one another, people meeting one another, the melting pot of the world business, the who's who from all over the world, with a slight problem. It seems that there are more Indians there than anyone else. Are we the most interested or the biggest investment destination that we need to send a delegation of 4,000 plus and ever growing to Switzerland? Mind you, it's not a very cheap proposition. It's an expensive proposition to be going to Davos. And when state governments and their representatives are going there, what are they getting in return? Mind you, this is the taxpayers' money. We're not talking about businessmen. It's their own money. They can go wherever they want. But when state representatives go there, then one seeks accountability. The big question that we are going to ask on Davos is this. Is Davos a paid holiday at the taxpayers' expense? Has it become a picnic where surprisingly you have a situation where many state chief ministers are meeting business tycoons from their own state in Davos? You could have had the meeting in Mumbai or Ranchi or Raipur or wherever you want. Why go all the way to Davos for these meetings? Question number 2, should there be an audit of what the government spends and what they got in return? Question number 3, what is the point of meeting Indian businessmen in Davos? The point that we were discussing just a short while ago. And number 4, are these summits mere talk shops with very little returns? So joining us now on this very interesting discussion on Davos or the Davos picnic at the taxpayers' expense is Mr. Suhel Seth. He's an Indian businessman and columnist. Thank you very much, Suhel, for joining us on this discussion. I'm being told, as so do your tweets, that you are extremely anti-Davos as far as these huge delegation going there and meeting Indians.
Correct. I'm
Correct.
anti-Davos in the manner in which the Indian delegation has unfurled its ambitions. I've done 14 trips to Davos from 2000 to 2014. So I know how Davos works. It doesn't work by having a junket or a party. Today, someone tweeted, there are more Indians in Davos than you can find them in Gurugram. But then in Gurugram, you can't find anything because, people must be excavated if you want to see them, given this condition of the roads. But on a serious note, Sanket, I have no issues. My issue is Davos is a meeting place of the world of business and politics, where business and politics intersect. Politics you need in order to create impressive pressure qua policy. businesses you meet because you want a global footprint. I wrote the line India everywhere at the behest of Dr. Manmohan Singh when Kamal Nath was the commerce minister. And that was the line we used in 2005, January, in Davos. That was the time when we talked about India, rule of law, democracy, all of that. And at that point in time, we didn't have multiple stalls. You know what the delegation at that time, Sanket, was? There were 31 people from India. Today, there are 4,118 people. I don't think all 4,118 are business leaders by any stretch or at the top echelons of politics. A, B, it's a very expensive WEF to go to. I'm talking about 2014 when the registration fee just for the annual meeting in Davos was 63,000 Swiss francs. Add to that hotels, flights, travel from Zurich to Davos, and the prices are insane because they were cartelized and still are by Publicis. So I'm not worried about, see, it is my money as a taxpayer. I'm worried about how these MOUs then translate into business. A, B. Abhishek Lodha signs an MOU with Devendra Fadnavis. When Abhishek Lodha's father is in Fadnavis's cabinet, you're signing an MOU for businesses in Bombay. I mean, what's the logic? That way, I have to tell you, the one person who's actually, two people who are actually doing a great job. One is Himanta Biswa Sarma, because he's meeting global CEOs to look at investment in Assam. The second, and she's doing it as a lone wolf, is Smriti Irani, who is setting up this alliance for investment into projects qua women. This is serious stuff. But half the guys are going there for a junket. Or if they are not, the optics seem to suggest it's a junket. So let's use, and I can tell you one thing. The Prime Minister of India, who I have a lot of faith in, is a great marketing person. When he travels, or look at what MBZ did when he came day before to Delhi for a 2-hour visit. Investments are serious work. You just don't meet people, give them a plug, give them a shawl, and say, oh, wow, we met these guys. And do you know how many people travel with ministers? At least an entourage of 6 to 7 personal staff, for which you also have to pay. There is a white badge, a blue badge, and a green badge. The blue badge is for those who accompany VIPs. The white badge is people who are allowed into the Congress Center, the plenary hall, all of that, and attend all the discussions. And the green badge is the support staff of ministers or whoever the VIP is. So my issue is, look, I'm not a cynic. I'm a great believer that brand India is here to stay. In fact, I told Piyush Goyal in a CII National Council meeting that don't say, come partner with India Inc., which is the line they're using. It should have been very simple, given the tariffs, and Jaijit is an economist, he'll tell you, given the tariff situation, all we should have said, which Himanta Biswa Sarma has used, advantage India. Why? For A, B, C, D, E reasons. Ashwini Vaishnav is a bright guy. IIT graduate, knows his onions. But again, the meetings are between these people. So that's my issue. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not against Davos. I'm against the way we are using Davos to advance the cause of investing in India. That's my limitation.
Very well said. Just for the benefit, let me put everyone at ease here. Nobody is against Davos. Nobody is against India going and being represented at an international forum. Neither Dr. Jaijit Bhattacharya, noted economist and entrepreneur who is with us, or Suhel Seth or Sanket Upadhyay, or anyone in this country. We want India represented. But what are we representing? If a Chandrababu Naidu is meeting Himanta Biswa Sarma, if a podcast between Nikhil Kamath and the Maharashtra Chief Minister is happening, Dr. Bhattacharya, in Davos, let me give you, the list is very long, of absolute redundant meetings happening in Switzerland. They could have happened in Mumbai as well. So in Maharashtra, as Suhel just rightly pointed out, there is an MOU between Lodha developers and Maharashtra government to generate 1.5 lakh new jobs, total investment of 1 lakh crore rupees. The agreement was, or MOU was signed, not agreement. The MOU was signed in Davos. Jharkhand, the Chief Minister meets representatives of Tata Steel in new age green steel technology. Could this meeting not have happened in Jamshedpur? Then in Madhya Pradesh, representatives of the Madhya Pradesh government are meeting Jio Hotstar in Davos. The company's area of operation is Chennai. The list goes on and on and on. There is a meeting of Everstone Group President Jayant Sinha with the representatives of the Madhya Pradesh government. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister is meeting Eros Innovations founder Kishore Lulla. Karnataka Minister M.B. Patil is meeting the Tata Group chairman. Surely, Dr. Bhattacharya, these meetings could have happened in India. And if this is optics to be seen at an international forum, do you think these are optics gone horribly wrong? With the rider, we have nothing against Davos.
No, it's always a mixed bag because once we start simplifying things, then obviously it becomes a Trumpian argument where it's black versus white, us versus them kind of a conversation. Let's just come down to some of the context. Now, you're absolutely right. Some of these meetings will be very frivolous, right? And it could have happened anywhere. But some of these meetings have a context. Let me take some examples. I've personally been with World Economic Forum. I was heading the Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution. In fact, last year, my family office actually invested into Maharashtra by signing an MOU in Davos, and that investment has been put in on the ground. And we're building ingot and wafers, which are very, very critical for the semiconductor industry. Now, why is it that we went all the way to Davos, and both the CM and us went to Davos to get this signing done? Because it's a signaling to the rest of the foreign investors that, look, this is a serious matter. And so there is a signaling happening. There is a signaling happening that the government means business. But does that justify a large junket? It's pretty much similar to the Olympic Games, where the officials are more than the players. So obviously, it's a mixed bag. But it is important that some of the signing that happens between two Indian parties or two Indian entities happen in Davos, because there is a context to it, right? As is usually the case, for example, if I look at Vibrant Gujarat Investment Summit, or the ones in Punjab or anywhere in India, even there, a large number of the people visiting are simply onlookers. They don't have a role to play. They are basically doing tourism. And therefore, their presence also actually includes jacking up the local prices. In fact, when I go to Davos, I stay in Zurich and take the train every single day, because that's much cheaper.
Smart man.
I mean, that it's a matter of not spending money. That's how we.
Anand Mahindra stays in clusters. Anand Mahindra has never stayed in Davos. Pavan Munjal stays high up in Shatzal, for which you have to take a funicular. So there are people. I mean, okay, I don't mean to interrupt, Jaijit. I mean, actor kotha bolbo. I decided that I will stop going to Davos when two things began to happen. One is a dosa lunch by the Hinduja family. The second, when there were more people wearing green and blue badges and never attended a single plenary, but they would be out every evening for the parties. Let me tell you who are the serious people in Davos. And let me say this. The serious people from India were the following. Mukesh Ambani, and he attended all the days. Anand Mahindra, Adi and Parmeshwar Godrej, Azim Premji, Shyam and Shobna Bhartiya, Pavan Munjal. I'm talking about Sanket, that level. Then what happened was, and Jaijit will bear me out since he has an association, or he's more affair with WEF. Then WEF under Klaus Schwab decided to drop prices for non-Congress plenary, non-central hall users. So everyone started going. And the degradation began. Let me tell you, the other most serious person who used to go and continues to go is Chandrasekharan and Chandra. TCS, ask Jaijit, he will tell you. There were three important evenings in Davos to create brand India. The TCS dinner, the Rahul Bajaj dinner, and the Infosys dinner. You would meet Mark Zuckerberg, you would meet everyone. Today, people are just setting up. Do you know something, Sanket? You'll be shocked. There used to be only one cafe which used to be taken over for India meetings or whatever. I mean, I'm not against Davos. I'm against the way we use these, as Jaijit says, these marquee events, global marquee events to market brand India. That's my limited point. We can do it better, we can do it sharper, and we can do it cheaper. My issue is
Dr. Bhattacharya, you see, again, the point that Suhel is making repeatedly, which is the submission of everyone, No one is against India being represented on an international level where we project ourselves as a destination to invest and attract foreign direct investment. But when these MOUs are signed, you say that it's critical that these domestic companies must sign the MOUs in Davos because it will carry a lot of weight. I'm not going to question business houses going there and representing themselves. It's their money. It's their hard-earned money. But when government representatives travel, when the delegation is more than 4,000, when chief minister after chief minister leads a delegation, huge delegation, and then meetings like these happen, then this is the taxpayers' money, Dr. Bhattacharya.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there is a audit required of what is the, in business language, the ROI of a meeting like this?
So absolutely. Let me bring some more clarification. So one, I did not say it's critical. I said there's a context. So one must be respectful of the context. Second is that there are other, and as you rightly said, if it's a private citizen going, it's a free world. They're free to do whatever. If it's tourism, so be it. Now, the core question that you're bringing up, Sanket, is should taxpayers' money be wasted in these junkets? And that's a question for every single junket. I totally agree with you. It's a question for, as I mentioned, the Olympics. It's also a question for even the events that happen within the country. And because Davos has such large optics, the wasteful expenditure kind of amplifies in your eyes when it's coming from the government using taxpayer money. So that goes without saying. Having said that, the point really is that can we have the same meetings in India? No. I mean, imagine walking into a cafe and meeting the Maharashtra chief minister and having a chit chat and signing an agreement. That will not happen in Delhi, right? So it's a separate environment. Is there an alternate platform? Why can't we have the same thing in Tawang in Arunachal? And as Suhel mentioned, half of the promenade is filled with Indian companies or Indian state governments. So a lot of the funding is coming from India. In fact, per company, it's 6 crores that's being paid per company. That's an annual membership. And in the entire year, the only thing that happens is really Davos. So imagine 6 crores into the 20 companies that are there. There's a lot of money which can fund a similar event here. Who's taking the leadership? In the absence of a platform, we have Davos. And
brilliant point. Brilliant point.
Is create an alternate platform and really put the might of the government behind it. Pretty similar to what China has done. They have a similar-ish platform. Most people turn up there. The Russians turn up there. We haven't attempted that. I mean, have it in Tawang, have it in Andaman, wherever. I mean, that is irrelevant of where we have it.
What Dubai is doing, yeah?
I think what Dr. Bhattacharya has said is something so critical, and this is psychology 101, Suhel. If you've already lost the plot if you are on someone else's plot. If you're playing somewhere else. You invite people over and then the rules are yours.
See, Dubai does the World Business Summit. It started about 6-7 years ago. I attended the first one. What did they do? It's very interesting. Klaus Schwab, who's nothing but a mercenary and will remain so for the rest of his life, Klaus Schwab partnered with them. They use the same technology, the same badges, the same programming, and today the World Business Summit is successful. And Jaijit is right. Why can't we create India-centric IP? You know why? Because a lot of these guys want that junket. A lot of these people want to go there. Oh, we hobnob. This bloody selfie culture has also destroyed and permeated business. I was supposed to attend a particular dinner in this Davos, which is the Time 100 dinner, which is arguably one of the finest evenings. What IP from brand India are we creating at Davos other than, ao bhai samose kha lo, ya ye kha lo, ya wo kha lo? What are we doing? My objection is when, as Jaijit says, you have the opportunity to use a strategic tool to market brand India and its investment attractiveness, why do we piss it away all the time? B, Sanket, being the formidable journalist you are, do some research, my friend, and find out over the last 5 years, how many MOUs that have been signed in Davos have actually fructified into investment. Therein lies the answer. Somnath Chatterjee, he's dead now, God bless his soul, used to be the chairman of WBIDC, West Bengal Industrial Development Corporation. I'm from Calcutta. We used to call him Moda, means MOU Dada, because every year WBIDC would sign millions of dollars worth of bloody MOUs. What is happening, other than what Prime Minister Modi did when he was Chief Minister with Vibrant Gujarat? There are more vibrant this in India than functioning traffic lights. How do you harness that? That's my limited point.
Right.
Interesting, which is why, Dr. Bhattacharya, this MOU business, I understand things have to begin somewhere. There has to be an understanding. But then it has to move beyond this understanding also. Otherwise, this will become like a talking shop.
Yeah. So let me, on the MOU side, let me give my experiences, and we have both the consulting organization as well as we invest our own money. We have found the state governments to be extremely proactive. So once an MOU is signed, they latch on to you like a dog on a bone. But there are other factors that come into play. The money doesn't come in because these are large investments being promised, and the foreign investors back off because they don't see enough stability or regulatory assurances or regulations being changed post facto, which has been happening both in India and elsewhere. So it's not just a India issue, but if, for example, you're an Indian, you'll be more comfortable with the insecurity in India rather than the insecurity in US. So you'll prefer to put your money here, right? So those are conditions that happen. And as you rightly said, out of a large investment, even if 10% comes through, it's good enough. The movement forward happens. But let me also tell you other things that happen. Because you're walking down that promenade, you get into conversations such as last year, I remember getting into the small nuclear reactor conversation into who are the providers, what are the latest technologies. And so now it has triggered us into looking into small nuclear reactors as a place of investment. It wouldn't have happened without that thing being triggered. So there are issues which help us at a national level or at a state level. And in terms of MOUs being signed and not executed, I mean, that's a phenomenon even happening in Malaysia and other places. It happens when the MOUs are signed even within India. And as Suhel just mentioned, we are having MOUs signed in West Bengal, other places.
But Dr. Bhattacharya, don't you think it's a very expensive proposition to hang your bets or hedge your bets for 10% or 5% success and then spend so much money in this Davos saga?
The issue is not the expense. The issue is the return on the investment. I wouldn't mind spending 10,000
That's what I said,
crores.
return on investment.
Yeah, so absolutely. I'm just clarifying it for your viewers that we're not bothered about the expenses as long as there is a return. And also, as you started with saying, Sanket, is a lot of the people who turn up there should not be there on taxpayer money. So that is a reference that goes.
That's my point.
Right? That is clearly an issue.
I think we are largely in agreement on the point that we cannot afford wasteful expenditure. This is not extravaganza, and that too not on the taxpayers' expense. Let's look for solutions. So
it's not that. Jaijit is politically very adept and correct. I'm not. There is also a level of ridicule. Very senior business leaders in the past have told me that you'll come here, you create a racket, which we do. We are who we are. It's more like a food and party festival. Sometimes you're not taken seriously. You should have seen, Sanket, you're too young. You weren't born then, I think. The way Rahul Bajaj, the way Narayan Murthy, the way Chandrasekharan used to conduct those evenings, they were stellar. You would have the world's foremost business leaders come. I've attended sessions, and by the way, the other person, former bureaucrat, who was a great WEF advocate and WEF participant, was Nandu Singh, N.K. Singh. There was a discussion once on water. Then, again, Jaijit is also too young. You guys are too bloody young. There was a program, and I remember half the Indian delegation, even of those 31 people, didn't get up early in the morning. It was called Dialogues in the Dark. It was started at WEF. Basically, business leaders who registered for that event walked into a room. The room was pitch dark, and the guy conducting the event would ask that, what do you think are the global headwinds in America, for instance? What do you think EU is going to do? The reason why it was dialogues in the dark was you wouldn't see who is actually talking. So people didn't have to fear for being watched or whatever, whatever, whatever. The Crystal Awards were stellar awards. I'm not saying, we all like, especially old people like us, we always say, oh, those days were damn good, these days are screwed. To each their own. I'm not passing judgment. All I'm saying is, when we go to Davos, we are putting our best foot forward. Just make sure you don't slip on the ice. Simple.
Okay, so one solution, and let's spend the rest of the few minutes on looking at solutions on how to return the glory and importance of going to Davos for the World Economic Forum. One thing that Suhel Seth is saying, cut the flab. Lead a leaner and a meaner delegation from the country. Don't take anyone and everyone. Dr. Bhattacharya, any other suggestions?
No, not really. I wouldn't be putting in strictures and regulations for the private entities and private parties to do what they want to do. Some of it may not be aligned to our taste, and I completely agree to it, but it's a free world, right? And they will follow the law of the land in Davos and make sure what they do is within the law of the land. I think the key issue is how our money is getting spent, which is the taxpayer money, and whether we need to do more, because this is the time that India is expanding at a breakneck pace. We are the fastest growing economy. We are contributing the most to the global growth. And there has been significant geopolitical issues, which is leading to challenges geoeconomically. Those are the issues we need to resolve, and that's where the taxpayer money needs to be spent. Our sovereignty is now getting threatened. In fact, the other day, when somebody was asking in one of the television channels as to what do I think about US-India agreement, I said, how does it make any difference? Because that piece of paper, even after signed, that it will not be upheld in any court of law. And we see that happening now. The Chagos Islands are being questioned, and that's the area which is the backyard of India. So trying to put in these global frameworks in place, I think that's where we should be investing our time, energy, and taxpayer money in, which will then lead to the stability, which will lead to further growth, both globally and in India. And global growth will lead to Indian growth. As of now, we are leading that growth, and therefore it will also attract more investments. So it has to be spent much more judiciously and strategically so that we are able to impact the global geopolitical scenario for our benefit. And the world is slipping right now, as we all know. I don't need to mention it anymore. We all know that the world is slipping from a rule-based order. We are one of the lights which have a bit of a heft on the global stage to bring it back to what it should be. And we have a huge history of being a rule-based civilization. So let's spread that. And I think Davos is a great place to do that.
I'm asking you a question, Sanket.
Yes, sir.
Why is Piyush Goyal not in Davos? He's India's commerce minister. He's the one who's front-facing all the trade agreements. Why is he not there? Why? Why do you have the IT minister? Okay, I can understand AI, technology, blah, blah, blah. It's bizarre. We often don't send our best people. Even a very dear friend of mine, God bless his soul, Jaijit, when he used to go there, would conduct the meetings. But after that, he had all his paratha carriers who would unfurl parathas, which is fine. But the meetings were conducted. When Arun Jaitli was finance minister, those were very, very serious meetings that he conducted. There were bilaterals, very serious bilaterals. Kamal Nath, serious bilateral. Even Anand Sharma, serious bilaterals. Today, by the way, you have more media representatives from India than you can find them in Noida or in BKC. Every channel is there. Every channel is doing an exclusive. My worry is the same Johnny is being interviewed by 20 Indian media people. If you don't...
Media is a totally different discussion, Suhel. I'm not even getting into this. The fight in the media year after year to get the best hotel room, to get business class tickets. But since this is not taxpayers' money, I'm going to let it slide. We are only concentrating on taxpayer money. The point over here is, see, Suhel, you mentioned the point of sending good people, right? Why is Piyush Goyal not there? My point here is, why not send relevant people? So Piyush Goyal would have been relevant to WEF.
That's what I meant. When I said
finance minister relevant to WEF.
No, no, I'm not talking about his character. I'm talking about his relevance. A, B. I'll give you an example which you don't even remember. 2014, January, I saw Umen Chandi. He was the Kerala chief minister. And he was wearing slippers. And I told him, I said, you be very careful, you'll slip on the ice. Black tongue, whatever. The guy slipped on ice. He was laid up at taxpayers' money in Davos in a hospital for 2.5 months. He was wearing the mundu and he was wearing slippers and obviously an overcoat just as he was entering. But his footwear was incorrect. Who had to foot the bill? The Kerala government. 2.5 months or 3 months, maybe. He was laid up in Davos. So I'm not making fun of someone's medical predicament. I'm saying there needs to be more organization. A, B, I'm going to suggest a solution. I don't know if Jaijit will agree. The Prime Minister should create what I would call the Davos Committee of India, DCI. In that Davos Committee, the Prime Minister, without any party polarizations, should say, okay, these are the 5 states that will go this year. These are the ministers from the Union Cabinet who will go this year. These are the things we will discuss. These are the bilaterals. And if you want me to come, means the Prime Minister to come, I will come on day 2 and day 3. We don't do that because there is so much of fractionalism and fighting between the political parties. That's the issue. So I'm not laying a problem. I'm giving you a solution as to how we can make it more strategic, more insightful, and more powerful in terms of return on investment and the reputation of brand India.
Gentlemen, as we close this, are we in agreement on the following points? Dr. Bhattacharya, you tell me. Less people, cut the flab. We are not talking about business houses, we are talking about government representation. Number 2, an explanation to the taxpayer on how much money was spent and what we got in return. Only to the taxpayer for the taxpayer's money which has been spent. Third, send better people to Davos. Number 4, why can't there be Davos-like events in India? The point that you made. And 5, the point that Suhel said just made, Davos Committee of India to decide who goes to Davos. Dr. Bhattacharya.
I disagree with you. In fact, I'll add one more point that there is no such platform for the global South, since India is trying to help out the leader as providing leadership to global South. I think we need a similar platform. As we all know, World Economic Forum in Davos is more of an expression of Western hegemony over the world economic structure, and we do need a something similar for global South as the structure changes globally. And therefore, what you mentioned, Sanket, I completely agree with all the 4 points, plus the fact that if you create an alternate platform, it needs to be for the global South and not just for India.
Very well said. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. I think this was a very, very significant and a positive discussion around Davos. Let me also add, again, towards the end, no one is against ice skating or skiing or paragliding. people can do whatever they want in Davos, so long as we get our money's worth. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.